Greetings and welcome to the 5th episode of our Mod of the Month series looking at the best mods made for Morrowind each month. As always, I'm your host Dark Elf Guy, and today we have the results from the best mods from September as selected by you guys in our online poll. And I know this video is terribly late, I do apologize for that. Eventually we are going to get this series on track, believe it or not, though it might take a while. And anyway, these are the top 3 selected mods as voted for by you guys in our poll, and there were a few ties, so basically I acted as the tiebreaker and just selected the mods I thought would fit best in this video. And as always, there's a new poll out today where you guys can vote for the best mods of October 2015, and you'll find a link for that in the description below, and that poll will be closed in about 2 weeks, so do please go ahead and cast your vote. And in any event, there were some 40 mods released in September, and our mod of the month, as decided by popular vote, is Dunmer Nobles Overhaul by Ivolga. Now, Dunmer Nobles Overhaul is a mod that does really quite a lot of things to completely overhaul the nobility of the Dunmeri households on Vvardenfell. It completely changes the looks and clothing of many of the named Dunmer nobles of vanilla Morrowind, adding fanciful hairstyles and colourful clothing that often has the Great House emblem or crest of their house membership shown prominently somewhere on the clothing itself. And it has to be said that this clothing is absolutely fantastic looking, and there are some really creative hair models as well, as you can see with some of these Telvanni nobles inside of Mora. And that sort of brings me to the next aspect of Dunmer Nobles Overhaul, in that it also adds a ton of random NPCs like what you'll find in Morrowind Comes Alive that can be found in various towns and cities controlled by a particular great house. And it even has support for temporary builds, so you can see these random nobles just walking around the great house towns of mainland Morrowind. And it has to be said that with all these features, it's easy to see why it's our mod of the month for September. Ivolga is a really great modder, and the outlandish hairstyles and lovely clothing choices really do match with the sort of alien nature of the game and help make the nobles of Morrowind that much more distinctive than they were before. Though a slight caveat that should be mentioned is that Dunmer Nobles Overhaul does require Macom's Dunmers redone, but other than that, it's a great mod that really helps to add a lot more detail to the game world and the cultures that inhabit it. For our second choice for mod of the month, as decided by you guys, we have the City of Balmora by Symbiote Dinosaur. And this is yet another overhaul of the City of Balmora to add a little more detail and variety to the City of Great House Hlaalu, as well as a town expansion with a few new buildings to check out. And perhaps most notable here is the inclusion of a number of, well, I'm not even really sure what you'd call them exactly, market streamers, mayhaps. But in any event, they do add a bit of colour to the streets, and there's also a bunch of other details like overhangs, lanterns, and other miscellaneous items that have been added to the buildings here. And you can also tell that there's just something of an influence from Epic Balmora going on with some of these districts, particularly here in the Temple District, with a number of added Velothhian domes. Some of you who have played Epic Balmora probably remember that there are a lot of added Velothhian domes right next to the temple. And there's also a lot of new details added to the canals of central Balmora, such as railings and, again, some more lanterns. And there's also a lot of new buildings that have been added to the residential quarter, as you can see here, though it should be mentioned that most of these can't actually be entered. They're mostly just for cosmetic purposes and not practical purposes. There's also a few new interiors though, such as a pub with services, and overall this is yet another good alternative for those looking for a different Balmora overhaul. Finally, our third choice for mod of the month by popular vote is Bal Isra Annex by Bruno13069, and this mod simply adds a new building to the Rodarin stronghold of Bal Isra that you'll find right behind Indari's Manor, simply called the Bal Isra Annex, and inside you'll find a fairly large interior with a wide range of NPCs, and I believe most of these NPCs are service-oriented of one kind or another, and this mod basically acts as a small stronghold expansion that doesn't really do anything too massive or settlement altering, and mainly contains convenience services like vendor NPCs, trainers, and even temple functionality, as you'll find down in the basement. And most of these new rooms that have been added here act as quarters for the NPCs themselves, along with a few spaces for training, and of course the temple services down here, as you can see, with a bit of a shrine and also ash pit. And there's also a little bit of personal space that you can use for your own character as well. And in any event, that pretty much wraps up everything I have for you guys for the September mods of the month. The poll for the best mod of October 2015 is now online, and I encourage you guys to check that out and cast your votes. And I'll see you all next time with the next batch of mods.